All right, I have an interesting test. 9mm and 38 special for big game defense. Because something like this work. And how are they going to penetrate? So what I had today is I got some Underwood 9mm plus P 124 grain full metal jacket, and it's a flat point. 38 special, a 125 grain is a plus P FMJ and is a flat point. 9mm, 1225 feet per second rated. 38 special, 1250 feet per second. Our ratings are very similar. However, Underwood usually has a little bit slower velocity in 38 special than they do in 9mm loadings. I've noticed that. So we should be pretty even. How will they penetrate? And how will they do? Testing against a big game simulation. And to compare it to these things, you might wonder, okay, these are full metal jackets, how will they do? I have some other various rounds I'm going to test. I have a 124 grain jacket of hollow point. It's just a spear gold dot bullet loaded by Underwood. I have a 158 grain plus P 158 grain semi-wad cutter. That's kind of the standard load for high penetration. And a 357 Magnum 140 grain extreme penetrator. Now the exception with these two here, this 357 and this 38, these are very powerful rounds. So to try to get the energy a little bit closer to these particular rounds and these guns, I'm going to shoot them through the snub nose. We should be somewhere in the 400 to 500 foot-pounds range with all these different bullet designs if I've done my calculations right. So we should see a difference of how something that's traditionally designed to penetrate versus you know, what this will do versus some full metal jacket flat points. So I'm going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy I get at the same time, and then we're going to do my big game simulation. What I have here, I have a big piece of carpet. You know, the backing on this stuff is really tough. This is kind of like our animal hide. And instead of 3 inches of clear ballistics, I'm going to do 6 inches, you know, because that's kind of our pectoral muscle on a human. Let's do 6 inches. That's doubling it. 2 pieces of MDF. Normally that's my ribs or sternum simulation. Well, this is going to be 2 of them to kind of represent maybe like a bear ribs, something like that. And then 2 more clear ballistics. So I can't really tell you much about what to expect or how the penetration will compare to straight clear ballistics without all this stuff on here. But what we can do is see how far some will penetrate compared to others. And then I'm going to shoot from a little bit of a distance just to kind of see what kind of overall practical accuracy I can get with these rounds. So let's get started with this test. All right, I'm about 5 yards from the target, 4 yards from the chronograph. First up, I'm going to fire a single round of this jacketed hollow point or gold dot 124 grain plus P. See what kind of just velocity I can get with this. Let's see how this does. 1294. Let me try something else. I hope to get a read with these. Sometimes these are finicky. I colored the extreme penetrator in some black marker, 357. So let's see how this will do through the little 2-inch snub. 1187. Next up, we have our hard cast 158 grain. 158. So we got some reads on that. Now let's move on to the test rounds in question here, our 38 and our 9mm, and do some velocity averages on those. All right, here is our 9mm 124 grain plus P flat point. Let's see how this does. It's rated at 1225 feet per second. 1310. 1285. 1306. 1317. 1312, and as I suspected, Underwood always kind of loads their semi-automatic cartridges pretty hot. Let's see how our 38 does. And I am using a 4-inch revolver just to, you know, get as much power as possible. This rate at 1250 feet per second. Underwood kind of usually loads them less than that, but let's see what we can get with the 38. 1156. 1218. 1210. 1215. 1195. So below rated velocity, but you still have to agree that's a pretty good load for a 38 special plus P. And our recoil is still pretty low, like a 38. So let's hit our big game ballistics gel block with all these different rounds and see what we get. And by the way, I'm not going to pull out that MDF for these shots. I'm going to leave it in for all of these shots. So let's see what we get. All right, first up we have that jacketed hollow point. This is loaded as well, or maybe even a little bit better than Spear's loading of it. But You know, all that carpet and 2 MDFs, I think that's going to be a struggle for any jacketed hollow point round. That's a lot of stuff to go through, so let's see how our 124 grain plus P jacketed hollow point does. All right. And I'm not surprised by the lack of expansion. I am surprised though by the penetration. We got about 14.5 inches penetration, which is actually more than what I would have ever expected something like that to do. Our expansion is just a little bit, you know, low, which makes sense going through all that stuff. But that's not bad, but I'm not really sure that's enough for a big, dangerous animal. So let's try something else. All right, we got our hard cast wad cutter, 38 special. Let's see how this will do. Okay, that went out the side. It went to about 29 inches and went out the side. Let me try one more. Actually, it punched a hole actually through one of my metal signs back there, and it is a perfectly clean hole. That's pretty cool. Let me try one more of those. So we got a little bit of drift on that one, so I'm gonna go a little bit more centered with this wad cutter, or semi-wad cutter. It did the same thing. Didn't put another hole through my sign. I guess I'm gonna do one more, a little more centered. Right, I'll push it over just another couple inches, I guess. All right, finally. And it only went a couple more inches than where it's been exiting. And what we're looking at here is about 35 inches. Pretty good. Let's see how our extreme penetrator does. All right, next up we have our extreme penetrator. It's not really that much more powerful than that 38 special, if at all. So I'll try to catch this one, and we'll see what this looks like. All right. So our extreme penetrator, let's see. Yeah, I don't see anything in there. I see kind of like a mark. No, it's in there. It's way up here. It penetrated less. That 357 Magnum extreme penetrator penetrated less than that 9mm bonded jacketed hollow point. Only at about 13.25 inches. That's not very impressive for something called an extreme penetrator. Let's try our 9mm and 38 special full metal jacket flat points. All right, we got our 9mm full metal jacket flat point. Let's see how this will do. Almost no recoil. And we zipped right through the whole thing. Yeah, there's definitely a hole coming out the back here. So that went right through it, no problem. Let's try our 38 special. All right, 38 special flat point, full metal jacket. See how this does. That put a lot more damage in there. And we're at about 26.75 inches. Boy, I hate to say it, but our 38 special looks like it did the most damage. I mean, I love to say it, but I hate the trolls when I say it. That's not bad. Now, we did see some arcing of that. The nose wasn't as flat as 9mm, so that's probably why it went up like that. That's possibly tumbling there where we have that permanent damage. But overall, I'm going to say I'm really surprised by that jacket of hollow point 9mm. I'm also surprised by that extreme penetrator. Our best penetration here was with the 38 special semi-wad cutter hard cast. However, I think our best balance here of overall everything pretty good is our 38 special flat point full metal jacket. So I'm going to shoot from a little distance, see what kind of just practical accuracy I can get with these two particular rounds, our full metal jacket rounds. All right, I decided to come back from 75 yards here because these are two of my best shooting handguns in my hands. Pretty evenly matched. So brought back about a dozen rounds each. So I'm going to see how these will do from 75 yards at my steel silhouette there. See if I can make any hits. Pulled that one. That's that last shot there. So let's see how my 38 special and my 686 does at 75 yards. Not hitting exactly where I want them to be hitting, so I'm not sure where exactly they're hitting or what I'm doing wrong here, but something's a little bit off. It might be arcing up a little bit. Let me aim at the bottom of the plate there, or the silhouette. Let me aim a little high. I tried a lot of different stuff. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Normally a 38 special in this particular gun, it shoot excellent for me. But something's a little bit off there. So overall here, you know, the reason why I do these accuracy testing, because it kind of matters. Because you want to have a round that has a predictable trajectory. The 9mm did. This at distance really did not for some reason. I actually shoot this better than my M&P, so I'm saying something's off a little bit. So best balance I thought in my ballistic test was the 38, but if I take everything I've tested here, I'll put it together, our 9mm did penetrate the most, and the 9mm at that distance, which could be a practical thing, had the best accuracy. So all this test put together, the 9mm won this, absolutely. However, at close range, I think this is probably just as good. It might even be better if it dumps more energy. So that's what you get today. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.